Hello and welcome to episode number 86 of the Perth to Paisley podcast. Listen, if you watch that game, this is going to be some struggle to try and get anything out of it, but we're going to try. Daniel McIver, as ever, I'm joined by Adam Kennedy. Adam, how you doing?
Great, mate. How are you?
Doing totally fine. I'm over my illness from last week, which is lovely. People on Twitter were very quick to remind me how often I spoke about it. It was like, listen, I was ill, all right? However, I got a tattoo. I had hospitality at the weekend, which we will get into and speak about, which was lovely. But yeah, doing fine. And going to be interested to see how we managed to speak about this exhilarating game that happened at the weekend.
I tell you what, could not have picked a better time to get to hospitality. I bet you were wind down and treated.
It was good. I mean, fantastic. I don't know how I would have coped watching that game otherwise, because I feel for you who was stuck.
Don't. I made the round trip for that. And to see the dog on Thursday, and that was it. I thought I'll take some time up, get everything done for uni, and then I'll be rewarded with a Hearts game on Saturday, and it was anything but a reward.
Well,
it's absolute dross.
Well, that's quite interesting that you say it's dross, because this was probably the worst week in Scottish football for ages, probably this season.
Don't. See, trying to guess these scores. My goodness gracious me. I thought I'd be kind to everybody. Jesus.
So not only were all the games really rubbish, it also killed off any excitement for the rest of the season, because now that's basically the bottom two, top two.
Everything's pretty much decided, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, which out of Dundee United, Motherwell and Ross County will get in the random qualifiers that they won't succeed in.
They've somehow managed to luckily gain an extra place due to other clubs' performance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like you get folk that call out the split for this exact reason, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, what a nonsense, man. If I was a Livy fan, I'd be fuming. Like, look at, they've beaten Aberdeen and Hibs, and they just can't budge.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's a nonsense.
Well, we'll actually start with Livingston, who managed to defeat David Gray's Hibernian, who managed to have the incredible stat of 18 shots with none on target, which is
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Wow. So that like at that point, that's deliberate. Like, you've got to 12 and you're like, right, fuck it, let's just see if we can do this.
They just don't want David Gray to get the job, do they? On
exactly.
A basis.
Exactly. And that continued the run of 1-0s as Aberdeen defeated Mark McGee's Dundee to basically, that's them relegated. Then Tam Courts' Dundee United beat Motherwell 1-0, and Motherwell, listen, we made a point about it last week. Graham Alexander was like, why don't we get any credit for getting top 6? Because you've won 1 in 17, Graham, right? It's not an achievement. It's embarrassing. Okay, that's why. Then, to close it off, Stephen Robinson finally won a game of football in the league with St Mirren. Also 1-0. And then we'll get to our game, because we were the only non-1-0 of the day. And then the Old Firm was even shit, because that just finished 1-1 in a really anticlimactic way to kind of, will the title keep going? No. What did you make of the games?
It did neither any favours, that Old Firm. What a load of absolute tosh. I mean, really, Dundee United Motherwell was about the only noteworthy one. I mean, I called that correctly for who scored. Well done, me.
Good.
Great. Motherwell are rotten. I hope that they finish 6th. I think there's every chance they'll finish 6th. But they'll probably beat us at Fir Park, so there's always that. Aberdeen 1, Dundee 0. I mean, Lewis Ferguson penalty seems to be Aberdeen's top scorer.
Yeah.
Say no more. Christian Ramirez raging that he's been hauled off is quite amusing. And obviously we've seen with Americans that they don't seem to last long in Scotland these days, so that's always a bonus. Speaking of, Americans, Chris Mueller's last match, I see that he could potentially make his Chicago Fire debut this weekend.
Yeah.
How that works, I don't know, but if his last game is a 1-0 win, 1-0 defeat, on Livy's Astro, then
that sums up his career.
Yeah, it speaks volumes about your legacy. That's great. I noticed now Roy Keane's ruled himself out of the running for the Hibs job, which is very disappointing. Watch it be such an underwhelming appointment for everybody involved, not just if you're a Hibs fan. And St Johnstone 0, St Mirren 1. I was actually delighted to see. Not delighted to see St Mirren win, but I'm just thinking more for next season because our McDiarmid Park record is absolutely dreadful. However, we win in Paisley all the time now, which is great. So long may that continue. And I can't wait to rob more points in Renfrewshire next campaign. Don't care about the Old Firm. Just hope that Rangers advance on Thursday so that they reach the Europa final and are then knackered, after which, even if they win it or lose it, don't care.
Basically how I feel as well. It was just a boring, rubbish weekend of Scottish
football. I didn't even watch Sports Scene, can I just say? What's the point?
Oh, Charlie Adam and Mark McGee seem to have a fight. That was funny.
Oh, no, I heard about that on Sports Sound. Kenny McIntyre was asking Mark McGee why he substituted Charlie Adam.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, I'm sick fed up of talking about Charlie Adam. And then Michael Stewart made the point, well, all he does week by week is talk about Charlie Adam. And he said a week or two prior, like, we get a free kick late on, that's why you leave Charlie Adam on the park. Yet all of a 2-week, spell later, and he hauls him off.
And they got a free kick in the 89th minute from like 25 yards out as well.
Mark McGee's just gone, isn't he? Like he's done. I hope Dundee do not come back up. They're like the Scottish Norwich, basically, is how I'm viewing them.
Yeah, that's pretty fair, actually.
They better not yo-yo back up. I don't know who I want to see the championship, who I want to see win it next season.
Inverness, if they did get up.
Inverness or Partick Thistle, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't really care. Just a pretty underwhelming week of the cinch, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it was not good, and I think that was perfectly summed up by Heart of Midlothian versus Ross County. The fourth meeting between the two sides this season, and I've noticed every game just got less and less good, because the first game drew 2-2, quite exciting. That's not bad. Next game 2-1, so 3 goals. Not too bad. Then the next game's 1-1. Then it's like, oh, okay, this is quite shit. And then 0-0. It just got, every game got worse.
Really shit.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, some laugh.
Yeah, I just feel as though that's kind of emblematic of our season, isn't it? Like, we started off like an absolute steam train, and then
not now,
but we get to our destination, and then that's it.
Like, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? It's like we were. I'll say we were buzzing about like beating Dundee United, but it didn't really matter. It was just a nice added bonus. And then we called it positive apathy because we're kind of numb, but it's like we can't complain.
Yeah, basically. I was in a very unique situation, as I said, as I was in the Skyline Lounge for the first time. This was the first time I'd ever sampled it. And
how was it?
It's posh. I'll say that. It's bloody posh.
Do you feel out of place or what?
Yes, very much so. It was, however, though, it was lovely. All the staff could not be nicer. Like, they're really attentive and really, really cool. The food was lovely.
Good. What stand did you get?
I got oxtail, lasagna. It was weird but good. And then the pudding is jam tarts.
Classic. Love that wee bit of wordplay.
Yeah, quite right. I had that. I will say this because I promised them I would. The weird way the world works, said this on my Twitter. We ended up being sat, me and my brother, who were in hospitality, right beside Brad, who has been, Adam, you will know this, and potentially other people who follow us on Twitter. Brad has been since day one. Brad has been there, always interacting with us, always see the support. Much appreciated, as we always say, but also I can now attest that he's a lovely man. He was really sound, really great to meet him, as I said at the time, and sadly the game wasn't really up to that moment of meeting, but it made the day better. And then
I don't know why he stuck around since that first episode, could I say, because if you were to listen back to that, it was absolute trash. He's obviously seen a couple of our more erratic tweets and just thought to kind of stick around for the ride.
Maybe. He's been through the ringer, though, listening to us, and hopefully we've improved by this point. But
I'd like to hope that we have.
Yeah, well, maybe that's kind of for everybody else to decide. But also, after the game, the last hour, me and my brother sat with Laurie Dunsire and Rob Borthwick, which was lovely as well.
Very nice.
So I actually had a great day, regardless of the result. How did you find the game before we get into it?
It was absolute pish. I was stood up in that stand thinking, why have I made the effort? And then I've given my season ticket to Dad for the Rangers game because I'm like, I can't justify this. My financial predicament, I cannot justify driving all the way up to then come back down. And I move out the week after. So the lease is up the 19th of May, the 10-year anniversary of a very special date. And then I'll just be up and go through the final with my pals and whatever. So that'll be nice. But yeah, I'll just be an armchair fan for the remaining 3 weekends.
Shocking.
I know it ain't happening. I'm sorry. I'd love to be there, but I can't justify it for the dough. And the fixture on Saturday is giving me the fear. The only nice thing about the Old Firm draw is the fact that Celtic can't mathematically secure it against. They can, but they can't really.
Yeah. So
that's the only consolation that we took from Sunday's scoreline. But
basically.
But in terms of our Saturday performance, I'm delighted that I'm giving the next 3 a miss. And I hope that they've got something special saved up for the final.
Well, the team that Robbie thought had something special was almost unchanged from last week's game against Dundee United.
That made it even worse when I saw the change.
However, the change was Aaron McEneff obviously went off hurt against Dundee United, and Robbie said that there's no point risking him. It's his calf. So the man that came on for him at Tannadice, Ben Woodburn, your doppelganger and Richard Cobb's favourite human being in the world, came on, started. Apart from that, which I probably understand how you feel, what did you think about the rest of the unchanged side?
Do you know, I say this, but we're waxing lyrical about the backup brigade and them winning at Tannadice. So I thought, regardless, heading into the match, that Hearts would get the better of Ross County, regardless of the 11 that they fielded. Even if the gaffer decided to spring a surprise on me and chuck Ben Woodburn in there. So I can't say that I'm all that surprised by sort of lack of alterations. And when I found out that Ellis Sims was obviously out injured as well, then again, he's another that's not worth the risk. Because we need him for later on in the month and what have you. So to be expected, if I'm honest, mate, can't say that I was particularly surprised by the 11. What were your thoughts?
I was the exact same. I am very much, I know you're saying you're an armchair fan for the last few games. I'm very much I don't care about the result as long as no one gets hurt fan. That is very much my attitude towards the remaining games, and was very much my attitude for Saturday. I was like, right, cool, you could start me, Ross Stewart, and you for the remaining games. I don't care as long as the starters for the final are fine. Maybe we could make an impression and get involved for the final. But listen, normally what these episodes consist of is us going through pivotal moments from the game, analysing them and kind of talking about
there's moments in matches that we go through.
Yeah, I know, it's a novelty completely.
It can't be many, if any, from Saturday.
Well, this is the thing. We're not doing that next week because only 4 things happened in the entire game worth talking about. One of them happened in the first half. So an entire 45 minutes of action can be summed up in one moment where Ross County had the ball in the back of the net. However, it was disallowed for offside. It was swung in from the Wheatfield side, and Jordan White takes what is construed by the linesman a step too far, managed to put it in the middle of the net, actually, mainly because Gordon is just standing with his arm up, and he's like, I'm not even going to try and save this, you're offside. And immediately the linesman flags it offside. I actually saw this from more your perspective than usual, as I was slap bang in the middle of the stand. I could not tell if he was offside or not.
I was in, and I've got to be honest, from where I was stood, it looked like it was actually on. So I was thinking, that could be one that maybe is a little bit sceptical. And obviously, next season when VAR's introduced halfway through the season, we'll get to find that out. I mean, what a nonsense. That still bugs me. But
let's speak about that. What do you think about the big screens coming?
Quite cool, actually. We're talking about that amongst the boys and whatever on Saturday there. I'm assuming they're going to be where, you'd have like the Hearts Legends portraits hung previously. Yes. So that'd be quite cool. It's pretty modern, albeit Tynecastle's, I mean, not that modern in terms of like not much has changed bar the stand.
I was going to say one stand's modern.
Yeah. So no, I think that would be quite cool. You say like that was the main moment within the first half. That and a 20th minute applause / twirly for the departing
I was going to get to that half time.
Okay, sorry.
You've ruined it now.
No,
it's fine. No, it's fine.
No.
It's fine.
Sorry, but I was thinking if you do this chronologically, then there's no highlights up until we serenade Scott.
This is totally different episode, Adam. We're changing. We're flipping the script, doing whatever we want because the game was so shite.
Oh, this is gonna fall to shit.
But yeah,
I mean, most of our podcast episodes are, in fairness, but this is going to be like a new level of nonsense.
It's going to be class. But yes, I went in at half time to have a little pie and a lemon tart, which was lovely. But
a lemon tart?
It was like a lemon meringue thing. It wasn't very nice. I gave it a Kier. But so the pie was lovely.
Happy birthday, Kier.
Yeah, exactly. Pie was really nice. At half time, I have now since seen this. Gary Locke brings Scott Wilson out, who, as you said, was a very eventful day for him, as it was the last game that he will be announcing at because he can't make the Rangers game at the end of the season at Tynecastle. And he came into hospitality at the end and was speaking to people and stuff like that. But that moment that you mentioned on the 20th minute with the twirly, with the chant, I obviously right up the back and I'm directly behind him, so I could look down and I could see him as it was happening. And you could tell he was getting quite emotional, and it was just genuinely lovely. And we said it a couple of weeks ago and last week. Scott Wilson started doing this 20 years ago in 2002. That includes the time frame of both of our first games. So we have literally never been to Tynecastle when Scott Wilson hasn't been the announcer. And thinking of how many like huge moments he's been there for, his voice is literally synonymous with an entire football club. And
and Richard F. Mackay.
True. But like, shut up. I'm doing a nice thing.
Sorry.
And the bit at the very end of the game where Gordon kind of forced her, I was like, no. He just wanted to nip down the tunnel quickly, but Gordon grabbed him. And you could see Nielsen like tell everybody, get a guard of honour. He got his whiskey in a lovely wee box. And it was just lovely. I'm sorry that the game that he had was the worst game I think I've ever seen at Tynecastle, and that was his signing off.
Can I just say, that's what I immediately thought of. See, when I saw him like having chats with all the players, are they like apologising for that dross that they just like put on display for him? I actually found myself getting quite emotional.
Same.
It must be such an overwhelming thing when you've got all of Tynecastle literally paying you tribute like that. I'd have crumbled. I've got to be honest. I thought Scott did really well to keep his composure.
Yeah.
But needless to say, that could not be said for the 11 on the park. But yeah, just it is going to be really odd to not have Scott Wilson's voice welcome us, welcome away fans, and even sort of prior to kickoff when he was saying for the last time, wherever you've come from, whoever you've come to support, get right behind your favourites, let's make some noise. I found myself like, oh, that's really quite sad that that's the last time that we're going to hear of that. So all best wishes to Scott, and it's good that the club have paid tribute to one of their own, accordingly, but are also keeping him on as well, because they certainly could do a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely. And the exact same for me. Thank you so much, Scott, for literally every memory that I have of Tynecastle being associated with it. And Yeah, very big shoes to fill, whoever that is. And I definitely do not envy them. But that was the first half. Those moments, the twirly and Jordan White's own disallowed goal. I will say this. I thought Ben Woodburn played well. We're saying that this is where we are. This is where this game has led us to. I thought there was four standouts from the game. There was Peter Haring, who was justifiably man of the match. There was Taylor Moore, who I thought was really good. There was Toby Sibic, who for the first time I felt, he looks like a centre-half who has control of himself.
He even came out of defence and was just about contributing in the final third.
And then Ben Woodburn, who I thought was good. I would probably, obviously, with that level of performance, you can probably give no one a 7. But I would give all four of them like a 6 or a 7, because I just felt Woodburn actually showed something, which is an alien concept to him for most of his Hearts career. I know he picked up a niggle, and I think that's why he got brought off. But I remember going, if there was no niggle, I think that's a bit harsh that he got brought off.
What angers me is that I agree with you. I actually feel as though anything that we sort of looked to impose on Ross County, he was probably at the heart of.
Yeah. What a sorry state of affairs.
What's the end of this season doing to me? What have we done? This is wrong.
Haring was man of the match because, much like Dundee United, he was told to just play centre midfield on his own, because Woodburn was able to just have a free roll like Mackay, and Haring just had to control a midfield on his own, and he did that.
Yeah, Big Pedro's been sort of, I don't want to say shafted, but he's basically like, he's babysitting really for whoever's alongside him, and he really it's as though he's sort of trying to give like tutorials as to how to control a match to like everybody else, but nobody's of that same caliber in recent weeks as Big Pedro, so feel for him in that respect. But yeah, I'd say that he probably was our best player on the day.
And then the second half started, and there's only 3 notable things that happened there, and they're all bad things. Yay, they're all misses. So
all shocking misses.
I think 2 of them are shocking misses. One of them I can understand why. First one, it's immediately after the half starts. Again, speaking about Ben Woodburn, plays a lovely ball to Nathaniel Atkinson. Yeah, this is shocking. To Nathaniel Atkinson, who has a lot of space, a lot of time, who I actually thought also played very well, who kept Regan Charles-Cook very quiet.
Atkinson, I'm glad you said that, because when I thought he'd be one of your 4.
I feel bad for forgetting about him. 5.
Yeah, he's growing week by week, I think.
Coming into his own.
I think he is. A bit of a shaky start. And it probably helps that the gaffer played the same position. He said
that today. He said that literally today in an interview where he was told that he said that he was like, I wasn't expected to get this much game time by Neil. Like Nielsen said that to me when I came in, but then Smith got hurt. So he's like, my development has kind of been accelerated by necessity. And he was like, speaking about body positioning, and that's what Nielsen said to him, it's like about opening his body to allow him to move forward.
Smashing. I was just about to sort of go against myself there and say that I don't know how much of a bearing that has, but hey, trust your gut, Adam.
Trust yourself. Come on, you care what you're talking about. We're 86 episodes in.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing myself a disservice. Carry on.
But yeah, he's running down the right flank, as he is prone to do from the song. And Gino is in a lot of space and justifiably is shouting for it. So Atkinson goes, there's my friend, Josh Ginnelly.
Lovely cut back, coming on to it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the important part. It's right in front of him. So if Gino keeps this on the ground, it's a goal. Or doesn't do what he actually does and sclaffs it into about Rosé de the Gorgie. I have absolutely no idea how he managed to get that amount of power on a ball that was teed up perfectly for him.
It seems simple to say now, but just get your head over it, son. Head over it, a solid foot through it, and the keeper's at his wake. It's surely in. It's so Josh Ginnelly, it's unbelievable.
I thought he was really bad on Saturday. Again, and I said that last week. I was like, he'll be bad against Ross County because he cannot string 2 games together.
What is it with our players in the final third and this bipolar behaviour?
It's just
like 1 week unplayable. The only exception has been Ellis Sims
and Barry Mackay,
and Barry Mackay, who's just different gravy. But Ellis Sims can at least string a few performances together. He might then not score or not be quite as influential, but he'll still hold off players, bring others into play.
I think generally over the season, Boyce has as well. Boyce has been at the centre.
Boyce has, but it's peaks and troughs. This is what I was going to get into, mate, because we're all guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. Hearts fans need to just stop tempting fate. We've got a knack for this. When Hearts start the season emphatically, and then all the media get excited and they think, oh, wonder if Hearts could spring a challenge to Celtic and Rangers this season. Just relax. It's the same with Boyce.
They're idiots. They're idiots who think that.
But see, as soon as we've been talking about Robbo's record and 20 goals a season.
Boyce should have done it this season, though.
Oh, mate, he had 7 by September.
Yeah, he should.
He's got 9 goals since September.
He got hurt.
He did, but
he still should have done it. He still should have hit it.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's on what, 16?
Yeah.
So the winner on Saturday and then a hat-trick in the final, and you're there, Liam. There's no pressure whatsoever. But why do we do this?
It's a laugh, Adam. It's a laugh.
We've cursed them. This
is
ours and many others' fault. If I was Boyce, I'd be messaging us directly, going, you two numpties, every week on about 20 goals. Oh, not had anybody since Robbo.
That's funny, though. I want me to hit 30 next season.
Ian Sims will get 60 goals between them.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Ian Cathro was appointed our manager and he said to Isma Goncalves, Jamie Walker and Kyle Lafferty, you're my front three and you should be aiming for 60 goals.
He took them to a pub in Ireland.
What a laugh. What a buzz. Look how far this football club's come.
They got 25 between them and Lafferty got 18 of them. I still miss Isma, though. Isma was great for us. He's underappreciated.
I'm not having that.
1 goal every 2 games. I'll take that every day of the week.
Don't care. He was a lazy bastard. Our fans want to rewrite history.
No, that's the one criticism I never understood of him. I never understood the lazy criticism. You can understand. I disagree with the.
Don't get me wrong. He tucked. I'm with you. He did bag.
Funnily enough,
on occasion,
Robert Borthwick mentioned a moment of his when we were sat. He was like, he remembers Isma running 60 yards to block a ball, intercept it. He turned, but then he fucked the pass, and somebody behind him shouted, "You lazy bastard!" after he'd ran That's
probably me.
It probably was you. But anyway, speaking about strikers, the next moment was Boyce missing. And this is the one that I think is really bad. I don't understand why he doesn't just put his foot through it. I think
is it one that Mackay slips him through?
Yeah, so Mackay passes him. He's on the far right-hand side of the box.
On a plate for him.
Yeah. I think he tries to place it because Laidlaw rushes him really quickly. And I think his logic is, if I just hit this really hard, it's just going to hit off him. So I'm going to try and place it. When in reality, I think he should do the opposite. I think he should just hit it really hard and see what happens. And I think there's a high chance of it going in.
I think he's in 2 minds.
I think that's fair.
I think Liam Boyce is a striker that thrives off instinct.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're talking about 20 goals. The reverse fixture, he missed that sitting in Dingwall. He's obviously missed this chance. I'm thinking of the penalty miss against Celtic. This is haunting me. Should it not be haunting him?
No.
I cannot believe that.
He can't do that. He can't allow pass misses to hang on his head.
Well, exactly. And that's why he's a professional footballer and I'm just commenting on professional footballers. Yeah. But I could not believe it. I mean, it was actually quite a nice break. And I was thinking, yes, it must be about 75 minutes. I'm thinking,
73rd minute.
Oh, there you go. I'm thinking, yes, my trip's going to be worth it for this meaningless match because we're going to see a goal in this game that it's been crying out for because it's been utter shite up until now. And then it's saved.
It's saved. And then He had another chance, but I don't think this chance is as bad as some people are making out.
I'm trying to think of this chance. Oh, is this the one that Halliday slips and he
right
takes
at the very end?
Touch, yeah.
Right at the very end, Halliday plays a ball. However, it's just behind him. And I think the entire time Boyce is like, oh, this is behind me. I disagree he takes a great first touch. I don't think he does. I think he takes... I don't think he can. I think it's just
quite a nice first continuous touch, no?
I think it's behind him and he's trying to just grab it and drag it forward. And then
I see what you're saying.
He gets rushed and he's like, I just need to hit this. And it misses narrowly.
I think like Hampden, it just narrowly creeps past the post. The one toward the end of the first half at Hampden.
Where there he takes an amazing touch to get past the entire Hibs back line.
I reckon that's the difference where that ball sort of... I think the ball's in front of him at Hampden, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it's sort of, as you say, maybe he's trying to sort of hook it forward onto himself after receiving from Halliday, as daft as that sounds.
I'm not saying that the pass from Halliday's bad or anything. It's just that it is a bit behind him, and I saw a lot of
quite
people,
the right weight. You know, if it's Barry Mackay, then it's probably inch perfect.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter criticise it and then reply to their tweet about an hour later once they'd seen Sports Scene and go, oh, actually, that is actually a harder chance because it is just a bit behind him.
And no, that wasn't me for any listener thinking that would be.
But yeah, that was it. Sims came on and did well again, and it turns out
was
now
unlucky
that he's got...
actually with a chance that was blocked off. Sorry, mate.
And it turns out he's had a knackered groin for about 3 months. Why are we bringing them on? Why are we bringing them on?
Don't risk it. Don't risk it. It's the same with it's the same with talking about if Halkett's like fine for the final. We were talking about this on Saturday. If he's adamant that he's good to go, then great. If there's even a slight doubt, you know, we've seen this with...
He said he's 11 out of 10 confident that he'll be fit for the final.
Well, that's great, but I don't want knock-on effects for...
We can't have another Peter Haring situation.
No, exactly that, and that was the point that we reached. So thanks for, you know, stealing the words out of my mouth, mate. Really appreciate that.
No worries.
Taking that point, because I couldn't sum it up any better than that. So that's great. Thanks. Hope you have a happy life.
No worries. But yeah, that meant it finished 0-0 and it was rubbish. However, who cares? No one got hurt. That was my attitude.
I really could not care less. It wasn't worth the journey up. But yeah, fantastic.
Stop saying the journey up as if you're coming from Devon. You're coming from Ayr.
Hold on a second. But it's like, I've not got the money.
That's different. That's a different point. Yeah.
Like, this is using up a heck of a lot of fuel. They ran back. And for what?
Well, I wanted to touch on something that I disagree with. You'll be shocked to hear.
Here we go.
I didn't understand the people getting really angry at that result.
Oh, please don't. Like, the boos at full time.
No.
I'm not impressed with the performance, really. The gaffer's not impressed with the performance, really, but...
They came in to play for a 0-0, in fairness to them, from minute one.
So, in essence, Malky Mackay and his team executed the game plan to perfection. That could prove a pivotal point for Ross County, if we're being honest. Is booing...
I never understand booing. I never understand booing at any time. I just don't personally do it. But especially in a meaningless game,
I'm not one to usually boo. I'll voice my frustration, but I rarely boo. But that's harsh for me. Because as you say, like, it's meaningless. Most of the backup brigade are out. If anything, like, the other members of the squad, whilst they're perhaps not the same capability of the first 11, have probably set the bar for themselves too high with last week at Tannadice. And a section of our fan base are perhaps expecting them to replicate that. And look, there's going to be some Hearts fans that will say, regardless of the first 11 or not, any team that we should put out should be beating Ross County at home. And I do agree with that totally, but it's really not worth greeting over, is it? I mean, let's be honest. If these players miss these chances now, but tuck one in the final in 3 weeks' time, I know for a fact I'm not going to be complaining. You're not going to be complaining. They're not going to be complaining. So hopefully we've got, performances saved up in the locker, if you will, and just let loose.
You know, I also think
cup final day.
We have to. I think some football fans often forget this. these players are human. If the fans are so apathetic about these games that mean nothing, there will be an element of these players in these players' minds going, God, these games mean nothing. I just need to keep staying fit.
Or that was a chance for me to assert myself in this cup final team, and I've not taken it. Hopefully, the gaffer's got me in mind for next week or the week after.
I don't think there's many folk in that team who would get in, though. I think the only options are, I think, Ginnelly, GMS, and Woodburn
are contenders, because I'm looking at it thinking Mackay starts, Boyce starts.
Yeah.
Herring probably starts.
Herring starts.
Obviously, CG.
Yeah. But the only way...
Maybe Toby Civic, dependent on if...
It's all about injuries.
Yeah. If they're back or not.
Because Atkinson starts as well. Yeah. I think Atkinson starts regardless, but I'd change formation.
Is Michael Smith just going to retire? Because it seems as though he's going to be back week after week, and he's been nowhere to be seen.
I think he's meant to be back for the Motherwell game.
Which is as meaningless as they come, so hopefully he can get 90 minutes under his belt then.
That's it. But that's it. Like, it is literally just like a lot of these players going through the motion. Yeah, just going either, like, for example, Peter Herring. He's like, I'm starting the cup final, whatever I do, because we don't have Benny. So it's like, and I say that, and he was still man of the match, but he was man of the match without doing anything. He was just kind of like, I'll just walk about and be class.
How mental is it, though, that he's adamant, or he probably will be adamant, that he'll start the cup final, and yet there's still uncertainty regarding his Hearts' future. Like, we're saying this, and Robbie's done a great job with building the squad, but the job's by no means over. And I'm really intrigued to see what will happen come this summer with the other extra additions that will hopefully beef up that squad. There'll be an increase in the number of personnel, but hopefully of quality as well. And it's really exciting, given the job that he's done with some of these no-users and getting us to third.
Definitely. And let's focus on a positive thing before we preview an inevitable defeat at the weekend.
Dreading that. I'm not even going to tune in for that.
I don't think I will either, to be honest. But we'll see.
I'll just get the scoreline coming through. I might put it on live score and just have the notifications, but I doubt it.
However, speaking about players coming and stuff like that, all our youth lot on loan have been class this season, evidently, as Connor Smith, Ewan Henderson, I think Scott McGill and Hamilton have all won Young Player of the Year at their respective clubs. I think Scott McGill did at Air Julians. I'm not totally sure.
Right?
But
Smith, I didn't even know that.
Smith, Henderson and Hamilton all won Young Player of the Year at their respective clubs.
At Queen's Park, Alloa and Arbroath, respectively.
Yeah. That's class.
Impressive.
That's amazing to see that, like, all of... And if Scott McGill didn't win Young Player of the Year, I know I've seen Airdrie fans online speaking about how good he's been in general that season. Yeah.
They love him. It's the same with Alloa fans and Ewan Henderson. I mean, there he was bagging 4 goals at the weekend.
Yeah. 18 in total for the season.
Remarkable. But I don't know. Hearts fans are going to voice their discontent as to them not featuring in the first team. I think Ewan Henderson's the only real one that we've seen be given an opportunity.
Connor Smith has a plan in place, though, for next season.
Is that right?
Nielsen spoke about it. He's going on loan to a championship club until December. Then from January in, he will be playing in the first team. Because Robbie was like, he's too talented to be wasted in a full season loan in the championship. But he was like, we don't want him to come back and then kind of just be off the bench. He was like, I want him to come back and be ready to be picked every week. And I'm delighted with that because I love Connor Smith and I think he's great.
And Robbie's not renowned for giving youth a chance, really. So that'll be good. That's decent. It's obviously going to have plenty of opportunities to impress. You'd imagine primarily in league matches, cup matches, or whatever. So fair play to the kid. Hope he takes his chance when it comes.
Definitely. Very exciting. And also, he's not in the youth team, but I always think of him as being a tiny wee guy. Dale Carrick scored like an 11-minute hat-trick at the weekend as well.
For the mighty Stirling Albion, whose season has been over for absolutely ages. They nosedived from second in League Two. Absolutely nonsense. So hopefully Darren Young restores the Beanos and gets a wee promotion push next season. And Edinburgh City had already secured their playoff place. So it was a fairly meaningless match. But well done, Dale. Good lad.
Actually, I'm going to check that right now. Let's check live on air what all the playoff scores are. Villarreal are 2-0 up against Liverpool. So it's all happening there.
I've got people might notice me kind of glancing over. I was watching Bournemouth Forest while I was waiting for McIver to come on, and I've seen that the Cherries have nicked that 1-0, which I'm absolutely devastated because I wanted Forest up, and I don't particularly like Bournemouth, if I'm honest. Fulham and Bournemouth coming back into the Premier League just shows that there's far too much money. How can these clubs have parachute payments and just instantly spring a promotion challenge the following season? It'll be the same with Norwich. Like, this is nonsense. Watford are another that just bounce up and down. And Burnley, if they get relegated, well, boring.
In the Scottish playoffs, Edinburgh City are 2-0 up against Dumbarton.
Well, that's good because Dumbarton got the better of them to stay in League One last season, so hopefully City can relegate them and go up.
Annan are 1-0 up against Forfar.
Interesting, right?
Montrose are beating Airdrieonians 1-0.
Saw that.
And in the Championship
Derby,
it finished 2-1 Inverness.
Oof. Was the first leg at Firhill? It was, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. So they're taking that 1-goal deficit lead up to the Highlands with them. So those scores could be totally different by the time this comes out, and you'll know them anyway, but a little fun moment in there.
Can I just say, if I was a Partick Thistle fan, I would be raging at having to ground share with Queen's Park this entire season. Have you seen the state of that Firhill pitch?
The pitch was class tonight as we were recording.
For once, because it's been shocking.
They kept speaking about
Hamilton and Clyde are the next two that are going to be ground sharing.
Yeah.
Much to the amusement of not only Hamilton fans, but also Clyde fans. So everybody's angry at that move, and the clubs have just gone, well, sack this. It's not like the supporters are the lifeblood of any club. We'll just go and do it anyway for the shits and giggles.
Well, speaking about doing stuff for the shits and giggles, we're going to go to Celtic Park this Saturday.
That's not going to be shits and giggles. That's going to just be shits.
Yes, it is. 12 o'clock kickoff, early one. So that's
can't wait for it.
Yeah, love that. Who would you play?
The kids.
Same. Mackenzie Kirk, Macaulay Tate, that Rathy. Callum Flatman was good in the Youth Cup final. Get him involved.
It'll just be the same. It'll be the same 11 probably. And we're going to get absolutely pummeled.
What's your score prediction?
4-0 Celtic.
Well, I'm going to go 4-0 Hearts for a laugh. Let's just see what happens. Okay. It's going to be great. But yeah.
I mean, they can all but seal it. So they don't pass up opportunities like that, particularly not against us.
Aye, but we beat them first game of the season, so we'll beat them last game of the season against us, so it's fine.
Yeah, because our Parkhead performances have been great this
so
season.
Good, yeah. In fairness, we only lost 1-0.
Can I just say that? But that League Cup match feels like it was a lifetime ago. How was that this season?
It's crazy.
Honest to God, that genuinely feels like an eternity ago. Yeah. And then the Kyogo offside goal, and that was also the day that Jota was, going down for this hamstring injury and play stopped. So it was a great laugh. I'm not tuning in. It's the cheesy. See, when you go to Parkhead and they play all the cheesy Celtic tunes beforehand. Oh God! Every day I count my lucky stars that I was not raised either a Celtic fan or a Rangers fan. Even the nonsense regarding Jimmy Bell, it's a sensitive subject, but the Rangers kept, like, a man's just lost his life and they're arguing about, nonsense that need not be argued about.
Yeah.
You can see why the Old Firm are hated by the rest of Scottish football fans, because they're just on a different planet.
And on that lovely, happy, energizing note, we will end this episode.
Sorry, folks. I didn't mean to go full rant. I'm so angry.
No, I like
unnecessarily angry.
I like it. Keep it going into next week, and it'll just be.
You'll see me fizzing when we turn out a dreadful performance, even though it means nothing.
Yeah,
I'll find reason to moan. Don't you?
You've just criticised people for 20 minutes who found issue with that at the weekend.
Oh, fully. And I'll find issue with something even more meaningless. The fickle nature of a football fan. You've got to love it.
Well, until then, we hope you have enjoyed this episode where nothing happened. Because
to drag that out.
I know. I'm impressed with both of us. But yeah, if you've been impressed with both of us and have enjoyed this episode, please do share it around on social media. We are at Perth Paisley on all the social media. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave us a like, subscribe and comment. It's much appreciated. We start seeing the same names in there, which is always really cool to see people coming back week after week. We really do appreciate it. Also, if you've been listening to us just audio, please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. It massively helps us as well. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
They can get me on all the socials at Adam T. Kendall. And what about yourself, mate?
I am at DMcIver22. We'll be back next week to discuss the meaningless but probably rubbish defeat against Celtic at Celtic Park. Preview the Motherwell midweek game. Preview the Rangers home game as well. There's going to be loads of stuff. As opposed to this week where there was nothing, there's going to be hundreds of stuff next week. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Come on, the Hearts!